Hey, that was a pretty incredible day yesterday. We're going to talk about that storm threat coming up because we do have an elevated threat index. But first off, the eclipse, just a rundown of how it went out and played out across the area. This is GOES 16, satellite imagery, high-definition imagery. I want you to watch up towards Seattle and Portland. Starting you out at noon yesterday, visible satellite imagery is essentially a picture of the clouds. And when you get the moon blocking the sun and you don't have any sunlight to illuminate the clouds, you're not seeing the clouds. And you can see this big black spot, the moon shadow, that just basically worked its way across the continental United States. So cool. 2:30, the peak of it around here, and you can see the noticeable lack of cloud cover there. And then, of course, that sun's shadow, the moon shadow, I should say, continued to work its way off the coast. And boy, did we get some pictures. We got a lot of them. This one from Lucas, and he's up in Frankfort, but he was down in Franklin, Kentucky, down around Bowling Green. Caught totality down there, and I just love that shot. With the corona. I got this one yesterday. I was talking about the pinhole viewer and how sometimes leaves on trees can act like the same way a pinhole viewer can, but you get this multiple crescent repeated all over the place. So we had that. You could see it through the trees, and a lot of folks saw that as well. Teresa Anderson, the solar eclipse from Liberty, she caught the many phases of it as it went through. And also this one from Versailles, Jody Long. So even though we weren't in totality, we still got a really cool view. The 95%, you can see, isn't it amazing how much light you still get with just that 5% remaining? It got dim, but it didn't get dark here. Now on to the storms, because we got that to deal with today. The MaxTrack Live Doppler, well, it's clear this morning, but as we check out what's going on up north, there are showers and storms on the move. So you want to be aware there's the potential there for severe weather later on today. Much of the mess that you're seeing northwest will stay off to our northwest this morning, but that's going to change by later on this afternoon, runs all the way down into parts of Missouri. So I have elevated that severe threat index for your Tuesday to a 1, a slight risk. Damaging wind gusts, the main threat we're going to be tracking later on today. We may also have some issues with some large hail and heavy rain. There's an enhanced risk. It's much worse from parts of the New England states down into northern Pennsylvania, New York State. We have the slight risk, the same risk that was out yesterday from the Storm Prediction Center for those potentially severe storms, mainly looking at late afternoon, evening hours as far as the timing goes. But there may be a few storms popping by later on this morning. This takes you into mid-afternoon, and it could come in a couple of broken rounds of storms. There's one trying to get going into eastern Kentucky, out of the head of the main line, which should work its way in here late afternoon, possibly around dinner time, evening commute time, before it races southeast. So the way home from work, dinner time, kids coming home from school off the bus, you want to watch out. And then by later on this evening, this is 10, 11 o'clock tonight, a lot of those storms are racing off into our southeastern counties and out of here overnight. And then we get to the good stuff that you're going to see in your 8-day forecast, drier, cooler air on tap. We may see highs later this week very close to what we're doing right now, mid-70s. That's our morning low to mid-70s. By later on today, mid to upper 80s. It's hot, it's steamy, and we will see the increasing shower and storm threat. But overnight, we're going to drop down to around the upper 60s. The showers and storms taper off, and look what comes in behind it. After the storm threat diminishes, it's going to feel good. It's not going to feel much like late August here. I mean, we're talking about highs well below average, and it's an extended stretch. We'll have a good 4-day run, maybe, that's dry, but look at those highs. Our average high still around the mid-80s. In fact, it is starting to slowly come down now. We've reached the peak in that average high. We're still way below it. Highs in the 70s, lows potentially in the 50s. It could stay below average, tracking our next chance for showers and storms late in the weekend.